rough week on the air. Yeah, so I'm going to use this guy. Informal. Karaoke night. I titled my speech, The 13 Men of 2013. It is often said that you can't make a first impression twice. Arriving in the fall of 2009, the Wisconsin rowing class of 2013 was expected to be average at best. We had 0 big recruits and a severe lack of height and weight. A finish in the petites at the IRA would be nothing short of miraculous for the ragtag bunch of Wisconsin boys mixed in with a few high school rowers. Yet 4 years later, the senior class undeniably leads the boathouse in both talent and heart, with just 13 members of the original 33. That very first day in November, I got called back to rejoin the team after getting cut in October. I remember seeing the variety of characters that would come to define the next 4 years of my life. The first guy was hard to miss. I remember Matt Henkamp, who looks roughly the same as he did 4 years ago. Big, strong, and scary. Matt was the #1 recruit of the Frost class, so he had an aura that said, "I will talk to you, don't talk to me." And as a lowly Frost manager, I steered clear the first few weeks. As the years went on, he has become one of my closest friends and one of the hardest workers to pass through the boathouse. Once you get to know the guy, you realize that he's just a big, strong, scary teddy bear. Lowell McNicholas was the first Frost to come up to me and introduce himself after I got called back. He seemed like a meek and friendly guy, willing to go out of his way to talk to the new kid. Today he is still friendly, but put him on the water and a completely different set of Lowell peers. Lowell will tell you if you are doing something wrong in the water. It seems to work, however, because Lowell is one of the best technical rowers on the team and is almost always in good boats despite his size. Another lightweight character was Andy Wyland, who I mistakenly thought was a coxswain due to his short stature. I couldn't have been more wrong. Andy was Coach Boyle's secret weapon and stroked the Frost shape for every race that year. He later went on to Lithuania to represent the United States of America in the under-23 lightweight floor. Andy, who hovers around 165 pounds, beats me on the erg, and I weigh about 30 pounds more than him. I guess that tells you a lot about my rowing prowess. Andy continues to perform near the top of the team. Book your tickets now for Rio 2016. Our class experienced a mass exodus after Frost year, and we thought that those who had left us would never be seen again. Alec Hubb and Casey Klein-Kennedy, both 1F rowers, left us after Frost year to pursue jobs and schoolwork. With the 6 o'clock wake-ups, Monday morning 5x5s, and hours of power called out to them, and they soon returned after only a year away. The class would not be the same without these two. Casey bringing lots of hipster humor into our bleak and dark lives off the water. And where would we be without Hubb's anchor tattoo and math and education majors, tutoring some of the slower sophomores in high school level geometry and algebra. Another two 1F rowers have stuck with each other through the thick and thin with one thing in common. While most of us enjoy erging to electronic or dance hit music, both Tyler Dawson and Cody Rissman enjoy erging to country. When you hear Garth Brooks or Zach Brown band blaring in the men's bay, it's probably better to just go and erg in the lightweight women's bay. Perhaps it's the patriotic spirit or hard-working farming attitude that fills the verses of their musical choice that drives them, because both Cody and Tyler show up day in and day out to do work. Back in high school at St. Thomas Academy, I had the pleasure of knowing Ben Rubel. I knew him as that basketball kid who broke his nose and had to wear a silly mask during the games. 4 years later, Rubel managed to figure out how to transfer all of the skills a person could transfer from basketball to rowing and made the 1F. Rubel's performance chart is about as close to an exponential growth chart as you could find. PRing on just about every single test and excelling on the water, Rubel has gone from soft-spoken frosh to rowing superstar. Rubel's also perfected waking up 20 minutes later than me, warming up half as much as me, and still crushing me on the air, harking back to my rowing abilities. One senior who looks almost completely different than his frost self is Zach Niemeyer. No, he didn't put on 30 pounds of muscle or sprout 5 inches. He simply grew a golden mop on his head. It's now second nature to see Zach's hair, but as a frost, he was just a lanky swimmer. Little did we know how good Zach was on the water, especially in the pair, being one of the most decorated seniors, winning 2 Canadian Henley races. Perhaps due to his being a chemistry major, Zach is growing his hair to exemplify the mad scientist look. It's alive! One member of our class who was almost exactly the same as that first day, frost year, is Mike Stone. Mike has always been an integral member of our squad, always showing up and pulling, and then heading home for a 5-star feast. I usually make some variety of pasta almost every night, mixing in tacos or pizza sporadically. But while I decided what shape of pasta to cook, Mike was preparing a gourmet meal fit for a king. Mike is also a regular at Fried and Fabulous, a local food truck that serves just about anything deep fried. Look to see Mike in a few years opening franchises all around the Chicago area. And to take a page out of Ferris Bueller's book, they'll call him the fried food king of Chicago. 2 unlikely heroes on the senior squad are Eric Reel and Chuck Holtz. At first, Reel was the backup coxswain to Chris Lawrence, the prodigy of an elite East Coast boarding school. Reel, having grown up in Menominee, had never seen a rowing show. But after sophomore year, he was our class's #1 coxswain, and this past summer represented the U.S. in the senior lightweight 8 in Bulgaria at the World Championships. What a turnaround. Chuck Holtz was a stereotypical Wisconsin farmer boy, a direct descendant of the famed Carl Holtz, stroke and captain of the Wisconsin Badgers in the year before and after World War II. Rowing is in Chuck's blood, even though Chuck is just about the farthest thing away from typical East Coast Harvard rowing types. Though Chuck will be the first to admit his difficulty with longer pieces, I guarantee you couldn't find a faster 500-meter pole in the boathouse. Too bad our races are 4 times that. We started with over 200 on August 27, 2009. By February 16, 2013, we were down to just 13. The class of 2013 was expected to do very few things when we embarked on our arduous journey through 4 years of millions of meters rowed, both on the water and in the water. But our class was able to reverse that first impression and captain the boathouse in discipline, hard work, and perseverance. The class of 2013 is the glue that holds this team together and the engine that will lead this team to speed come springtime. I've always kept a quote in the back of my mind from an old hockey scrapbook, and I recently realized that it defines our class perfectly. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger, faster man, but sooner or later, the man who wins is the one who thinks he can.
What?